Thank you very much for joining today, guys. And I was just going to be doing the y- we have what we have covered in our first class. In we have yesterday we have done. So I'm just going to be continue how we're going to proceed. So those who are just joined the new in our sessions, who are going to miss our previous sessions. So I'm just going to take them that how the things will be there, how we're going to proceed, and what is the agenda of the classes, how we're going to be proceed. All those things I'm going to be talking to you. So we have yesterday we just talking about that we have new training is going on. The training which I'm going to conduct right now is more about the compliances. Okay, and this is the laws. What are the different laws? Okay, different regions, countries specific. We're talking about some regulations. Okay, different countries have different type of regulations I have there, and we're talking about some frameworks. Okay, so what are the frameworks, compliances, laws, and regulations? So why it is requirement? Because any company, any corporate environment, or any enterprise companies have to maintains the compliances. They have to meet the compliance. Okay, they are working on some frameworks. They have going to some open source frameworks in the market right now. Okay, so we have just talking about all those things. What is the compliances? What is the laws and regulations and frameworks? And this is very important for any corporate companies to following all those things. And this is very important to everybody to understand who's guys are working on the corporate environment right now. Suppose you guys are working on any corporate environment, and some of the guys are in audit, some of the guys are working on frameworks, some of the guys are working on IT security, information security, so that they have to understand some compliance. This is a mandatory things for any company to achieve. And also, suppose you are in the auditing field, you should understand the compliances and frameworks and regulations. And this is the mandatory things. So as per this particular topics, I'm going to be creating the learning perspective. Yesterday, we just talking about what are the different type of topics we're going to be covering into the same, and what is our agenda for the future prospects. So I would suggest that we have some different compliances. You can see in the topics, we have SOC 2, we have HIPAA compliance, we have GDPR, we have PCI-DSS, we have HIPAA compliant company, we have COSO, okay, NIST, we have things ITIL, COBIT, CMMI level 5, ISO 27000, TOGAF, CIS, and PDPB and SHRIC and MITRE attacks. So these are some very important regulations frameworks you have seen in my screen. And what we're going to be cover, because I'm a corporate trainer and I have more than 15 years experience into the information security background. So I would always going through the use cases. Okay, I'm talking about some use cases which is going to be required in any industries right now, which you're talking about. Suppose you are in the aerospace industries, you are in the healthcare industries, you are in the manufacturing plant, anything. So whatever the industries you are working right now, the use cases I'm going to provide, which is going to implement any specific domain wise. Okay, and I'm going to provide some assignments to you. I'm going to provide you some templates. So you guys need to fill up some templates and understanding how the thing's going to be working. So suppose I would suggest you that, hey, the assignments project, like I'm going to provide some samples copy. So suppose I would suggest you guys that, hey, I required the asset risk registers you need to be create. So you need to be provide some, hey, this is a risk register as per this ISMS scope, what you're gonna doing it, and what are the different things are inside the same. So you can see that we have different type of source code, software, non-digital assets, there in the company, servers, networks, and desktop, laptop, media, and many more things. So this is the base. This is the what samples you're gonna be working. That what are the different type of assets in your company, and then second thing is what are the security concerns. Okay, so I'm talking about some risk assessment is all about. Okay, so you need to be fill up this particular sort of things as per your company point of view, or suppose you are going to fill up at your own, that hey, this is sort of things we have right now. So this is sort of the assignments, the project I would like to provide you as per the case studies. Okay, so we have some use cases. Suppose you are working in a company where the 5,000 or 10,000 number of employees are there, and your company is PCI-DSS a compliant company, then what you're gonna doing it? Okay, what type of checklist, what type of devices, integrations you're gonna be working so far? So this is what I'm talking about. Hey, how you're gonna be working in all those industries areas is all about. And then we have some templates. So I'm just gonna be providing some lots of templates about the risk management and the change management and many more things. So you guys need to fill up some templates, project work, assignments, and scenario-based questions I want to be asking to you. Okay, so that scenario-based questions and interview questions, I can say that suppose you guys are going for the interview, or suppose you are going to be asking some questions to any specific point of view, right? So that's really helpful to you to how you're going to be providing the questions, how you're going to be providing the answers to your management, and how you're going to be handling your company's CTO or CISO and top management once you're working. And also scenario-based questions for your interview questions, that how do you implement, how do you integrate the deployment, what are the enterprise architectures, like if I'm talking about the TOGAF sort of things, what are the architecture designs, all of things. And then we have some doubt sessions I'm going to running it. So you guys have any feels, any doubts, I will going to help you out to providing the sessions to you. And the last thing is not the least is the certificate programs. Okay. So suppose you would say, sir, I have done all those training, I understand all those concepts, everything. What about the certifications? So I'm just going to help you out how you make going to the certifications, like suppose you guys go ITIL version 4. Okay, suppose you guys going for the ISO 27000 lead implementer, lead auditor sort of things we have. Like suppose you guys going for the PCI-DSS certificates, the company's point of view. So I'm going to helping out the certificates for the company point of view and also individual point of view. And if you are going for the interviews anywhere, I'm going to help you out to what are the different questions will be coming and how you provide the answers. So this is the interview questions going to be helping out. Okay, and then the scenario questions most importantly. So this is the things I'm going to be running as per the corporate experience from my side. And you know what, you will going to get lots of details, lots of assets, lots of course materials in anywhere like the YouTube or different Google. So but the you know what, once you are working in any specific country, is company's point of view, you're going to provide some real-time examples. Okay, real-time use cases you need to provide to the management, and this is what the company's requirement. Okay, then they know that all those things are available on the internet, but where to start, how to start, when to start, where to start, this is the questions you need to be answers. This is the things which I'm going to tell you, that hey, how to start, where to start, when to start, and what the things you're going to be doing it. Okay, so this is all those the big things I'm going to talking about here. So those guys have some of the new guys. Hey, Mahesh sir, we have working on the information security for the past 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Okay, so they are going to struggling all those compliances and frameworks. They know what is all about, but they not implemented till the time. They know that hey, this is very useful from a company point of view, but they are struggling. Hey, how to implement that? How to migrate all those things in the cloud? Suppose if I'm talking about some TOGAF, we have some migration architecture will be there. Okay, suppose company would require a person is enterprise architect, like database architecture, the designs, the frameworks. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about here. And suppose you guys, some of the guys are working on the COBIT 5. So I'm talking about, hey, we have the governance issues will be there. So what are the governance issues will be there? So I'm going to help you out. And also like ISO 27000. And suppose you guys are working on a cyber threat intelligence or cyber security background you are, right? Okay, you just come to be understand. Suppose I have questions to ask you, what is the difference between the cyber kill chain versus the MITRE attacks? Which is better and why? So there's multiple questions there. There's very simple questions I'm going to asking as an interview's point of view, right? So there's a very simple questions I'm going to talking to you, and these are the agendas which I'm going to be working for you in the future prospects to you. Okay, so I will gonna showing to you something better. What are the different things into the same? So this is really helpful to you. Like if I'm talking about some SOC 2 compliance, okay, so those are guys are new to the same, that they need to go what are inside the SOC 2. So we're going to go step by step classes. Okay, you know what? It is not going to be possible to provide in one class all those things. We have separate classes for SOC 2. We have, okay, and then we talking about some HIPAA. So we have five classes or 2 classes or 3 classes will be there in the SOC 2. We have 5 classes in the HIPAA. We have 3 or 4 classes will be in the GDPR. We have 3 classes will be the PCI-DSS. So I'm just going to review all those basic to advanced, all those things which is going to be applicable for your company's point of view, and all those checklists and auditing point of view. So I'm going to be provide a 3 class, 4 class, 5 class, and it is all those things will be covered in nearby 2 months, right? So you should be understand all those basic to advanced, the scratch to advance, all those things, so that you're going to be working anywhere and going to provide the answers to anybody else, right? So I'm going to be starting that what are the things inside all those things. So we talking about some the access controls. We talking about some SOC 2 point of view. Okay, so SOC 2 we have privacy, security, availability, process integrity, and continuity. So you can see that we have number of things you guys are aware about. The CIA tried. We have privacy, information security, database security. Like we have privacy issues in the company. So there are so many issues will be there. So we just talking about some SOC 2. We have SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3. We have type 1, type 2 reports, the applicability, all those things. So we have multiple things. I'm gonna be illustrate about the SOC 2. What are the things behind the SOC 2 and why the company going to implement the SOC 2? What are the different type of clients in the SOC 2 and what are the things? And this is all things will be practical as well as the reporting. Okay, the documentation is important, and also the practical things very important. Like I'm talking about some examples like encryptions we have right now. I suppose we have 2-factor authentications we're talking about here. We have multi-factor authentications we're talking about here. And we have site-to-site VPN, multi-site VPN. We have symmetric, asymmetric algorithms, and we have many more. And I'm going to show some practical firewalls, how the encryption is going to work and what are the hashing algorithms going to works. Okay, why? Because you should understand some basic concepts and also the practical exposure you guys have, then you can easily do auditing. Okay, I can say that if you're talking about some so SOC 2 or if we have ISO 27000, suppose you're going to get some, the checklist. You suppose I'm going to showing to you. So we suppose you guys to get some checklist looks like that, and then you should require, hey, what are the different authorities we have? What are segregation of duties do you have? You have screening. Okay, what disciplinary access is all about. So you should understand the basic to advanced concepts about all those things. Once you understand all those things in practical way, you can easily going to work as per the checklist as the auditing point of view I'm talking about here. So that's what I'm talking about here. Suppose you are working in ISO 27000, and suppose somebody will going to help you out. Hey, what are the, if you're talking about a security point of view, like we have change control, we have change versioning, what are the DevSecOps, okay, development security operations, and what are the different things inside the same. And suppose you're working in a software-based company, so what are the version controlling will be there. So I'm talking about here, and you can see encryption is there. So ISO 27000 encryption was there, and if you're talking about some SOC 2 encryption was there. So you can see the encryption and all those technologies are remain same, but the in-depth concepts need to be understand. That's what I'm talking about here. To understand the concepts and working on the practical things, and then I'm going to provide some checklist. I'm going to provide some templates, and I'm going to provide you some use cases on the same. And then you need to provide to me the assignments and projects to me, so that you have good understands about all those topics. And after that, once you are okay with all those things, then go for scenario questions and interview questions answers. So that's what it's very good for your future prospects if you're going to understand. And then suppose you still have some doubts, I'm going to help you out to fill out your doubts. So this is what I'm going to be doing into the classes. Okay, then somebody will going to say the HIPAA compliant. Okay, suppose HIPAA compliance, basically you have US based companies and they have some patient data will be there. So how are we going to be compliant all those companies? And suppose the American companies, American hospitals, you can say that they have outsourced their business to India, right? And you are working in Indian companies, and you are working on the patient informations of the Americans or US based people, right? So your company should be HIPAA compliant. So what are the technical things, how to incident management sort of things gonna working, how the PHI gonna working. So this is all those things, access controls, audit controls, integrity controls. You should understand all those, my dear friends. This is information management, security personnel, risk management, facility address. So why I'm talking about all those things, because if you see my courses, the all things are interrelated to each other. Suppose I'm talking about the risk management. Risk management comes under the SRIC. Okay, so this information security controls is all about. But once you're going to do some SRIC or like risk management, you need to be applicable on the ISO 27000 as well. This is also applicable on the NIST as well. What are the different type of threats and issues we a PT are doing it, and what are the different threats from the clients, and that's why you have the GDPR company or the PCI-DSS will be applicable. And what are different type of threats from the outside, that's why we are going to do SOC. Okay, so this is all those things are interrelated to each other. That's why we are going to do this particular things. So this is one, and then we have one more. If you're talking about some PHIs, the protected health informations, how we're going to be securing the informations from the outside. Okay, like I'm talking about HIPAA compliant company. We have some PHI, we have patient informations, and what are the different type of things inside the same. So suppose we have medical record numbers, health plan beneficiary numbers, account and certificate numbers, and as well as this all about the things which is included into the same. But as an information security point of view, how do you going to protect the informations? How do you secure the informations? And what are the security controls you're going to implement on the HIPAA compliant companies I am talking about here, right? So this is the things which I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about in this particular program. And then we have some GDPR, right? So we have first thing is SOC 2. Then we're talking about some HIPAA compliance sort of things. Then and the third topic would be the GDPR. So this is GDPR. What is the responsibilities? What are the where we going to implement? What to implement? Which companies are the part of the GDPR? And why it is important for the European countries to compliant of the GDPR, right? So we're talking about all those things and what are the penalties? What are the turnover of the companies? Breach notifications? How much time it will going to take? And mandatory data privacy officers who are going to doing it, constant matters, and suppose what are the different type of rights do you have in the GDPR. So we are talking about all those things in depth. This is only the samples I'm going to talking about in the demonstrations, that what we're going to be covering and why we're going to be covering it. And suppose I'm just going to providing some use cases why your company should be a GDPR, and your GDPR company will be there. And suppose company you will say that ISMS 27000, we can go ahead, or GDPR we're going to doing it. So what type of compliance, what type of auditing we going to requirement? Okay, so we're talking about all those use cases. Okay, the GDPR requirement like constant privacy by design, data transfers, awareness and training. So we're talking about some architecture designs of GDPR, the liability of the companies, and what are the different things we're going to be discussing to the same. So that we have some European Union citizens, and how are going to be right to be informed, right to be accessed, the right to be the rectifications, and many more things. This is the sample things I'm talking about here. And more than that, we're going to be discuss about the use cases and the applicability of the companies. And suppose the European Union data will be coming in India because the company is outsourced. Okay, and then how the Indian company should be PCI GDPR we going to implement or not. So we have number of things we're going to be discuss about once we're going to further into the same. Okay, then the next compliance is PCI-DSS. So suppose the PCI-DSS, we talking about some all those companies we have the payment card industries will be there, right? Suppose any debit card, credit card transactions will be there on the same. Suppose you're going to provide your information to the company's gateways and how they're going to be securing the information of the client customer's point of view, right? So this is on networks, secure network. So you have some networking understanding. So moreover, I can say that, hey, you need to understand the firewalls, how the firewalls going to working, ingress, outgress traffic, what are the device management systems, and what is IDS, IPS, sort of things there. So IDS, IPS things going to be working in the PCI-DSS in the firewalls, as well as if you are part of the SOC 2 in the firewalls, we are working on this as well. So it is overall in the compliances, what are the different type of technologies you are going to using it, how are you going to aware about all those things. This is all those things we discuss. Secure cohort data, vulnerability managed, access controls, and so many things. Suppose access controls is the part of PCI-DSS, and as well as it is a part of the access control is a part of SOC 2. Okay, so this is all things are integrated to each other. So once you're going to one things you want to understand, the other things we're going to easily work on the same. And then the firewall management, vendor default controls, data protections, data transmission encryptions, and device controls, data across controls. So we're talking about some data point of view. So data states, data lifecycle, data categorizations, we have network segmentations, and we have logical controls, we have physical controls, and so many things we discuss, my dear friends. This is what is most about the technical as a corporate point of view I'm talking about here. And then we have some other framework is NIST cybersecurity framework. So this is also important if the companies are US based, and then you want to develop how to develop all those things like detect, protect, identify, recover, any threat sort of things. And then we talking about some categorizations. And also I'm just going to help you out to the samples copy or the templates I'm going to sending to you. You need to create a report. Okay, you need to create a report how the thing's going to working. Like if you're talking about some risk assessment, or like I'm talking about risk management. Okay, so this is a samples copy. If I'm talking about here, this is your risk register. Okay, and in this risk registers, what are the things you're going to be adding into the same? There are so many things you can see that. Okay, and if you require more and more that information, I'm going to help you out how the thing's going to be working so far. Wait a second, I'm going to show it to you. So you can see I have number of templates will be available: ISO 27000, PCI-DSS, NIST, GDPR, CIS controls, okay, and many more things I have right now in front of you. So I'm just going to be sending to you the architecture, designs, ISO 27000, PCI-DSS, ISO 27000, everything will be there. So if I'm going to send you all those things, you're confused, sir, where I'm going to start all those things. That's what I have just going to be provide the specific step-by-step approach. Don't need to go each and everything at the same time. Go step by step. That's what I'm talking about here. Don't go hassle and wrestle all this time. Okay, so this is all those templates, use cases, the project assignments, and case studies, scenario-based questions I'm going to asking to you. This is what the NIST things we will going to be working so far. Then we have another framework is you know what, the ITIL version 4. So it is also important to understand what are different type of process in the companies, okay, and what are the new versions, ITIL version 4, what different things. We have earlier version 3 was there. What are the processes? What are the certification levels? How it is valid? All those components we discuss about all those things. So ITIL version was earlier 3 and ITIL version 4. Right now we're going on. What are the service delivery management? What are the change management, incident management, release management, configuration management, and so on. There are so many things, my dear friend. And this is what really helpful to you in the company in day-to-day life as well. Suppose company talking about some change management. So many people are confused. Hey, what are the change management? What is a person controlling? Okay, are the things are they mean same, or do we have different things is all about, right? So I'm talking about here that, hey, this is the change management point of view here, and I'm talking about the release management, configuration management, and so on. So it is really helpful to understand all those conceptual things. And most of the companies are required the ITIL guys to enter in the company as well. And it's really helpful to you for your future prospects once you're going to understand all those things. Okay, this is then we're talking about some COBIT 5. This is also very important for you to understand how the COBIT 5 things are working. So it's a meeting stakeholder needs. So those guys are who are working professionals. They know the importance of the COBIT 5, and this is more about the governance point of view. Okay, and covering the enterprise end-to-end, applying a single integrated frameworks, enabling a holistic approach, and then we talk about separating the governance from the management, and how the top management, how the governance take decisions. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about into the in COBIT 5. What are the different 5 principles? How all those principles going to be working, and how to make decisions based on the same. So those are who are the managers right now, and they are looking for upgrading their profiles. Those who are senior executives, they become a manager in their information security backgrounds. This is for you, my dear friends. This is, you need to understand the governance, taking decisions based on the analysis, based on the evidences, the collections, and all those point of view. So this is really helpful to you. Understand the governance management, okay, how the stakeholders needs, okay. Suppose you are going to meet the customer side, okay, stakeholders, and then they talking about some migration to the cloud computing things. So they are talking about some cloud computing things, migration things. Understand what exactly looking for. And then you guys aware about, we're talking about some sprint, we're talking about some agile. Okay, this is very important for any specific companies to understanding the customer needs, and then we have separate step by step. We're going to create some stories, and then you're going to be make the needs of the satisfaction of the customer's needs. This is what we're talking about into the COBIT. This is very helpful to you, my dear. And then we have another good one is IT security framework options. So you can see if you're talking about IT security frameworks, my dear friends, this is really important for you to understand COBIT, ISO 27000 series, NIST, and NIST is also the NIST is cybersecurity frameworks, CIS controls, and HIPAA CSF. This is what I don't know. I will tell you, I have not seen any from the past 15 years and so many companies, but all those things are the part of our things. And I will tell you a little bit about all those things. Okay, no matter about it. Then we're talking about some ISMS point of view. So we have information security management systems, ISO 27000. And if you go into the deep dive, we have, you can see, we have, this is standard clauses we have right now. This is Annexures A, what are the different things? And then you can see security operations, organizations of information security. So statement of applicability, what are the risk assessment, how you're going to be providing the ISMS documentations, how to do audit, what are the process of audit, what the auditee, who is auditor, what is the internal audits, what is the external audits, and so on. We're talking about lots of things about the ISO 27000, and this is really helpful to you as to understand all those conceptual things like business continuity planning is all about. Okay, like you're talking about, hey, we want to know some cryptography. Okay, so those guys are in the background of information security. This is really helpful to you understand all those ISO 27000, and also like the CISA, CSMs, CISP, all those things are covered into the same in this particular modules. Then we're talking about some TOGAF. So TOGAF is more about you, if you guys are aware about, is enterprise architectures. Okay, and then we talking about some lots of things about some preliminary requirement, architecture vision, business architecture, okay, information systems architectures, technology architectures, and opportunities and solution architectures, migration planning, architecture of change management, and implementation governance. So if you are working in a core technical field of information security and you guys say, sir, we are going to create some architectures, we have designing, we talking about some cloud architecture designs, we're talking about database architectures, we're talking about system architectures, we have application security, we talking about some the migration architectures, we want to working on the same. So this is the guys, this is things the TOGAF is for you. And TOGAF is more about the open source, okay? And I have lots of materials available about the TOGAF. You are going to take advantage of all those architectures. So data architectures, technical architectures, application architectures, and business architecture. Suppose you guys, you're going to do some integrations. Sometimes you guys are doing some migrations. So this is really important for you to understand the TOGAF is most about. And it's open source, first of all. Okay, so this is really helpful to you, make your career upgrade in the future prospects. This is really helpful to you guys. I'm going to help you out to TOGAF. All those things I'm going to be covering in our courses. Then we have very important things I'm talking about here is CIS controls. So CIS controls, we have version 7 was earlier working, and CIS version 8 is right now currently working. So this is very helpful to you understand how you're going to create the controls over in the companies. Suppose you are working as a security manager or company CTO or CISO or what in the security profiles you have, and you would like to know, hey, how the company is going to do account management on the cloud. How do you going to managing your account on the onboarding and offboarding, things like that? how are you going to be, doing data protections? What are the different type of securities we have right now in the market? Okay, sometimes you can say, hey, if you're talking about some malware defenses, we're going to do some audit logs and so on. Okay, we service provider management, we're going to doing it, application software security. So it is a part of OS top 10. We are going to be covered, and this is very helpful to you into the same. Okay, like inventory of control enterprise assets. So suppose somebody going to ask you, hey, what are the assets, asset security, assets inventory in a company you have? So you're talking about some, hey, you're talking about some open source asset management tools, or you're talking about some the cost base. Okay, so and enterprise companies have some, they have some service now and different things of the asset management tools. But most of the person is starting a new company or start a company, 300, 500 number of people, they are looking for open source asset management tools. So I'm talking about, there are so many tools available open source. I will tell you in the training that you're going to be go for it. And that's what I'm talking about, some the use cases which is going to be used in your day-to-day life in your enterprise environment. This is I'm talking about. Then we talking about some what are different things into the CIS. So that this is inventory and asset controls, account management, email and web browsers, network infrastructures, and so on. And then we talking about some PDPB. It's India's personal data protection bill was there. So you guys are understand the new new bill of the Indians point of view, data protection bill. And then we have not the least, I'm talking about some MITRE attacks. This is really helpful to you if you are cybersecurity frameworks. You want to understand in initial access, persistence, defense evasions,